So Obama, good old Obama, he always weighs in at the best times. Like he really does. And
Yeah,
it's
no.
always something very valuable he brings to the table. And here's what he has recently. Here's what he says. You lose people with snappy slogans like defund the police. Now, I figure maybe we need a non-snappy slogan. Here's my alternative. Maybe we need to try, let's have a beer with police with a chaser of Flint water while the cameras are on and ignore the actual problem. That is not snappy. Maybe we should try that one. So there's Obama weighing in at the great man. And I'll be honest, I don't know where you're at on this, but I'll always have the egg on my face that I gave Obama the benefit of the doubt way longer than I should have, pretty much until the end. And then finally, when I got to listen to firsthand accounts from like a Dennis Kucinich of what actually went down with the ACA, and then you hear Obama himself chuckling about the fact that he's a moderate Republican. You see his stunt in Flint. You see how the only time he shows his face is to do something like push for a Dianne Feinstein. And you realize that, this guy fooled us. Or he fooled me. I mean, I can't, but he fooled me. And this was not the guy I thought I was voting for twice or anywhere close to it. And I didn't even support in the 08 primary. I was a Kucinich guy. But I still at least thought I was voting for a center-left guy who was going to be a bridge, to a better tomorrow. And it was just another Reagan term for 8 freaking years, and by his own design. And then here he is. First of all, do you agree with that statement? Do you think we got to get rid of these snappy slogans like defund the police?
No. I mean, look, Obama, when he wants to come out as like the Cosby, pull up your pants, get back in the house, breathe a sigh of relief and just adore my 3-point jump shot, like that. When he wants to do that to the benefit of the party, of the DNC, he does it, and he does it unapologetically. And so and he's very, this is what he always has been. He's always been very crafted. He's always been very scripted. He's always been kind of the quintessential effective company man. A lot of company men like Joe Biden, they're not effective at what they do. They don't do their job necessarily that well, right? But Barack Obama, with all of his training and his talent, he has used it in the service of a lot of it is for his pocketbook. He's become immensely wealthy. I think his book deal was somewhat of the $60-70 million, right? So he's made a lot of money, has gotten a lot of clout for what he's done as president. And with these comments, it's always directed at people who are trying to make the United States and trying to make the world a better place. That's who he's always directed his ire to. It started with being this figure, the first Black president who could take the most progressive constituency in the United States' history, Black America, and take that constituency and push them to the right, so long as his representation and his presence would allow them some sense of justice, some sense of power. And that's what he has exploited since day one. He actually helped a whole lot of people. Even people like Jim Clyburn have benefited a lot just by Obama's presence, because it has allowed them to be even more unaccountable to people than at any point prior. So Barack Obama, we talked about it yesterday on our live stream at Black Agenda Report. We need to talk about his legacy, because this is his legacy. Saying things like this is his legacy. It represents everything that his administration and that his presidency really was. He says this with such callousness and doesn't even own up to the fact that Eric Holder and his DOJ refused to even take statistical data of police killings during his administration. They didn't find it to be a relevant practice. Like, that's how deep this goes. And he has problems with defund the police because he had no problems with giving them hundreds of millions of dollars of military weaponry, which in effect funded the police even more with, weapons of war.
Well, and I think it's very, I mean, what's the right way to put it? Like maybe kind of, metaphorical, because I understand that messaging is a reality. I mean, messaging is important and having solid messaging is important. But here's a guy whose big message was hope and change. He delivered neither. And meanwhile, he has a problem with defund the police, which is literally what we want to do. Like, defund the police, it means exactly, when you take the time to learn what it actually means, a lot more people are kind of open to it, where it's like, yeah, defund the police means all this money that they get. Did you know they get over 50% of your city's budget? No, I didn't know that. That's not right. It's not right that over half of my city's budget goes to militarizing the police. I am for that. So it's really an olive branch for more people to learn what defund the police really means and what it's all about. And it's exactly what people want to do. Like, oh, well, why don't you just call it reform the police? Because that ship has sailed. It's too late. You can't reform this. You cannot reform this. The disease that is our law enforcement cannot be reformed. So we're calling to defund the police. And this is what it means. And Barack Obama has a problem with that, when it's like, well, this is what we're trying to do. These aren't just platitudes that have no meaning. This is what people actually want to do. Oh, and by the way, a lot of those tweets people were putting out, like, well, defund the police loses seats. Nope, that's not what happened. Moderates lost seats. That's what lost seats, not defund the police. So nice try.
Yeah, it's all about blaming people who are progressive, people who are on the left. That's what we're going to get. And Obama can make a great post-presidential career out of what is going to become a lucrative project for the Democratic Party and the DNC, which is those who call for Medicare for all, those who wanted a living wage, those who wanted the police to be defunded, the police departments which receive 50% or more of city budgets, which receive military weapons from the Pentagon. All of that is to blame for why the Democratic Party lost congressional seats in the House. That is going to be something that'll be key for Biden, because we know that Biden will not really deliver anything that will sustain momentum for a second term, unless we're in a very similar situation as to the one we were in.
But didn't you hear him? Didn't you hear him say help is on the way? You're not convinced?
Help is on the way. America's back. That's I love his 5-word tweets, which absolutely say nothing, but yet he believes they're catchy or zingers or something. It's quite interesting.
That's one way to put it. Well, I mean, this country, when you look at like what the acceptable realm of conversation is within the establishment, it's like, we're like if a spam ad from 1997 on an early internet browser decided to form a society. Like it's absolutely ridiculous. Just the ideas that are put forth that we're supposed to take seriously. And then something like defund the police, they have an issue with that. They have an issue with that. It's like, wait a second. Over the past 4 years, they presented literally an anti-healthcare bill as a healthcare bill. That's what they did. They presented an anti-healthcare bill that took healthcare away from millions as a healthcare bill. Prior to that, you put Mitt Romney's healthcare plan forth as a healthcare bill. Let's see. We don't do anything about the wars. We won't even talk about it. We have a complicit media in that. And also, we have given people a one-time $1,200 fuck you payment during a pandemic. And then we talk about this as if they're entitlements, which is just a freaking lie. And we all need to be screaming. One of the reasons you pay taxes every year is so that if a pandemic happens, the government takes care of its people. This isn't a handout when you get relief during a pandemic. It's upholding an agreement. Every day that you wake up, you need to know that the United States government is stealing from you. They're stealing from me. They're stealing from all of us. It's worse than just neglecting the people. It is stealing. It is stealing. It has been stealing. It continues to be stealing. When they don't want to give you Social Security and you paid into it, that's stealing. That's not an entitlement. That's them stealing from you. When they don't want to give you Medicare and you paid into it, that's not an entitlement. That's an agreement. And they're stealing it from you. When they try to cut off the Postal Service, guess what? First of all, it is financially sustainable. But even if it wasn't, it's called the Postal Service, not the postal business. It's supposed to provide jobs for American people, which it does. And then they provide a service, which is shipping all over the freaking world, which they do. So when they're attacking it, they're stealing from all of us. That's what's going on. And our government is a complete corporate coup. And Obama has a problem with people on Twitter and something like defunding the police. I mean, who is buying this bullshit? And let me ask you this, because I've asked a couple people this. Do you think, because I mean, over the years, Bill Clinton's legacy is not viewed within as high regard as it once was. At least I don't think overall it is. Do you think anything like that will happen with Obama on a mass scale, not just among people like you and I, but like on a mass scale?
Right. You know, I think it will depend on the political direction of the United States, because I think the reason why Clinton's reputation has fallen so hard, Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton, we saw what happened in 2016, why their reputations fell so hard, was because there has been a kind of a political stagnation that's occurred among those who traditionally support Democrats. It's like there's been this awareness that, all right, the Democratic Party is not doing anything, and when it does do something, it's bad for me. But we got to hold our noses to it because the alternative is worse. And over the years, I think that's eroded people's confidence in the Democratic Party. Obama is a little bit different, though, because he has, I think, what no other Democratic Party politician has had before him. He has this kind of representationalist advantage. He has the marketing that happened around connecting him to the civil rights movement, to the Black struggle for social justice, all of that. He has that, first of all, made up connection, because there is no connection between the two, but he has what was crafted for him by the elite, which will likely last for a really long time. I mean, we were talking yesterday about how whenever, like, the refugee crisis that was created in the Middle East because of US wars in Syria and Libya, etc., Obama's never brought up around those things. Around Libya, for example, no conversation about the Obama administration's leading role in destroying that country and creating all of these crises that a lot of so-called liberal-minded people care about. It seems like they care about the displacement of people, and they cared a lot about what happened to undocumented people and the kids in cages, all of that on the Central American and Latin American question. But Obama's name never comes up, and I think it was such a powerful propaganda assault on people's consciousness that occurred during the Obama period. It'll take a lot longer for people to be able to get that in their heads, unless there is some sort of mass movement that arises and pushes, and the people that have already been doing it are joined by others, and more people to push politics in a more leftward direction. I think that's the only hope, because I think what we've seen in terms of just people's legacies overall, like FDR's legacy was made by the class struggle. It was made by unions, even though they don't usually get credit. It was made by workers and unions. A lot of Black people also standing up against Jim Crow in the South. All of that, it was made by those things. FDR's legacy. Obama's legacy will be made by how people respond to the power structure and fight it. But until there is this shift, Obama will basically have carte blanche to continue to be this larger than life figure beyond that which Bill Clinton, I think, could really ever think to muster, which is saying something, because Bill Clinton, as you probably know, he was a larger than life figure when he was president, and even a long time after that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, and that's Yeah, it's definitely like that makes a lot of sense. And yeah, I think you're 100% right. That's exactly how it's going to go down. And it's like when you look back on it now, you think about what Obama could be doing and what he could be saying, and then what he does say. And it's like if he was even in the arena of the person that I thought he was, were you fooled by him or no? Did you see through it from day one?
Well, here's how it went for me. In 2008, I was just able to vote, and so I
Okay.
was really pushed to vote for him. And I was like anyone else, sick of the war, sick of whatever. So I wasn't going to vote for McCain, and so I voted for Obama. But by the second term, by 2012, it was Libya. It was his response to Occupy Wall Street, because I was there for part of it, and it was his roles in both of those things, right? His suppression of Occupy Wall Street and his destruction of Libya, which made me think, wow, this is not the person that I was told he was. I was told that he was a champion for Black people. Well, not in Libya, I guess. And I was told that he was going to rectify the economic crisis. Well, he bailed out the banks and then decided to sick the FBI on Occupy Wall Street protesters, people that I knew. And I was just like, you know what? This I need to look more into this. And then I found Black Agenda Report actually that very year and started to read them. And I was like, this is interesting, because they went over his record and no one else was, not even the people who were victimized by Obama. A lot of people on the left were really victimized. The labor movement was man, they got no concessions from him over his
Yeah.
first couple years when they were really expecting it. I had conversations with many people in labor unions who were expecting a jobs bill. They were expecting the Employee Free Choice Act, and they got none of it.
Well, and it really played such a huge role in giving us Trump because, the general person, they thought, okay, hope and change. I'm going to take a chance on this Obama guy. And they think that Obama is some progressive champion. And they're like, well, if this is progressivism, I guess progressive policies suck because my life has gotten worse. And even though this is just Reagan, I'm
Yeah.
still, I mean, I don't know. I thought I was voting for this hope and change guy. I guess this is progressive policies. I guess they suck. So let me take a chance on this Trump guy. I mean, a lot of people felt that way.
Yeah.
And that's what
Yeah.
happened.
Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. You can tweet me an article at Ron Placone. We'll go through it together and make it our own. Get your